Part 55. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 541. Chapter 541, A Gentle Beast in Human Skin. She sent this voice message, and for a while, Mo Yesi didn't reply. Chiao Mian thought he was busy and didn't send any more messages. She thought that no matter whether Mo Yesi wanted to eat it or not, she would just buy 2 portions. If he doesn't eat, she will eat them all. Just when Chiao Mian thought that Mo Yesi had gone to a meeting and would not reply to her messages, WeChat dinged and the man's message came back. My favorite husband, I don't want to eat the cake, but I want to eat you. Is that okay? Chiao Mian stared at the WeChat message that suddenly popped up and the unfamiliar WeChat name for a long time before she realized that it was from Mo Yesi. She looked at the words "my favorite husband" and twitched her mouth. She clicked on the user information and took a look. Sure enough, she saw that this was the name that had been noted. The original WeChat name was just one English letter, M. She was about to ask Mo Yesi when he added her on WeChat, but suddenly she thought of the chat record between him and Zhang Luli, and she understood everything immediately. It seemed that while she was asleep, Mo Yesi did a lot of things without telling her. This childish man kept it secret from her and told her best friend that he was very strong and powerful. He even shamelessly noted his WeChat name as this nickname. What my favorite husband is so disgusting. Chiao Mian lowered her eyes and looked at the string of text he sent on the screen, and an ambiguous picture almost immediately appeared in her mind. She covered her hot face and decided not to reply to his message. This gangster. She has a cold and ascetic appearance, looking unfeminine. But actually. But those unhealthy things are always in your mind anytime and anywhere. At his core, he is just a gentle beast in human skin. Chiao Mian looked at his nickname again and again. She originally wanted to change it, but her fingers had already landed on the column to change the nickname. She hesitated and backed out. That man Mo Yesi is very stingy. If he knew that she deleted his name, he would definitely get angry with her again. Although he is quite easy to coax, it is better not to make him angry unless there is no need to make him angry. Is just a remark name. Since no one else can see it, there is no need for her to care too much. Chiao Mian didn't reply to Mo Yesi's message. A few minutes later, the man sent another one. Honey, I have to go to a meeting. See you in an hour. Chiao Mian hadn't replied to him yet. After a few seconds, he sent another message, leave some cake for me. Asterisk. 10 minutes later. The taxi stopped at the bottom of Moshi building. As soon as Chiao Mian got out of the car, she saw a familiar figure walking into the Mo family in front of her. The woman has a tall back, wearing a C-style black skirt, and a pair of red high-heeled shoes, swaying as she walks. Soon, the black figure walked into the Mo family hall. Chiao Mian stood at the foot of the steps and looked at it for a while. She vaguely felt that the figure was familiar, but for a while she couldn't remember where she had seen it before. She couldn't think of it and didn't bother to think about it. She carried the cake and walked up the stairs step by step. Asterisk. At the same time. In Mo Hall. As soon as Shenro walked into the hall, she saw Wei Zheng. A hint of joy flashed across her face, and she stepped forward to say hello. Assistant Wei Te, why are you here? Are you coming down to pick someone up? End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 542. Chapter 542. Miss Shen, why are you here? Wei Zheng was waiting for Chiao Mian in the hall. But he didn't expect that before he could see Chiao Mian, he would see Shenro. The moment he saw Shenro, Wei Zheng was a little surprised and said, Miss Shen, why are you here? The secret joy on Shenro's face could not last for 3 seconds before she froze. She immediately heard another meaning in Wei Zheng's words. Obviously, Wei Zheng was not waiting for her here specially. He didn't even know she was coming. Before Shen Rou came, she sent a message to Mo Yesi. He claimed that he was very busy at work and had no time to see her. But Shen Rou came anyway. When she saw Wei Zheng just now, she thought that although Mo Yesi said he was unavailable, he didn't really not welcome her, and he specifically asked Wei Zheng to come down and wait for her. She felt a little embarrassed to be slapped in the face so quickly. However, the eldest lady of the Shen family must remain calm and elegant no matter what the situation. Soon, her face returned to normal, and a gentle smile appeared on her lips. I came to see Si. He is now busy. Shen Rou had also been to Mo's before. At that time, Mo Yesi was not the CEO of Mo Company, but also served as the vice president. At that time, the only woman who could appear next to their president Mo was Miss Shen. Wei Zheng knew that the Shen family and the Mo family were family friends, and that Shen Rou and Mo Yesi had a good relationship, so he didn't think it was a big deal when he heard her talk about coming to see Mo Yesi. He nodded and said, Mr. Mo is in a meeting. Does Miss Shen have something very important to talk to Mr. Mo about? It's nothing. Shen Rou bit the corner of her lower lip gently and frowned slightly, as if she was worried about something. After being silent for a few seconds, she sighed, I had an issue with ACI because of some things. There was a misunderstanding. He is still angry with me. After thinking about it, I still thought I should talk to him in person, so I came to see him. Since he is in a meeting, I will go to his office and wait for him. Wei Zheng was about to nod and take her up when his mind suddenly jolted and he remembered that he hadn't picked up Chiao Mian yet. Miss Shen. He raised his wrist to check the time, then looked out the door, and then said apologetically, why don't you talk to Mr. Mo another time? Mr. Mo will be very busy today, and I guess he will be busy in the afternoon. There's not much time. If Miss Shen has to wait for him, she will wait for a long time. Wei Zheng was thinking that Chiao Mian would be coming soon. It would not be very good if Shen Rou stayed in Mo Yesi's office. Although Miss Shen and their Mr. Mo are just friends, she is the only person of the opposite who can get close to Mr. Mo after all. Just because of this relationship, the young lady may not mind. Women are all stingy. Moreover, he has been with Mr. Mo for some years. He always felt that Mr. Mo's feelings for Miss Shen were purely friendship. But for Ms. Shen and Mr. Mo, that may not be the case. Women have very small minds. If Miss Shen really has any thoughts about Mr. Mo, I'm afraid she won't be happy when she sees the young lady. What if something happens while Mr. Mo is away? Unexpectedly, his words did not dissuade Shen Rou. Shen Rou smiled and said nonchalantly, then I'll keep waiting for him. He can't always be busy and not get off work, right? Wei Zheng, Miss Shen. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 543. Chapter 543. Come to my birthday party. Don't worry, I won't affect his work. I know it well. Shen Rou smiled gently at Wei Zheng, it's not like I haven't waited for him. He used to be busy and didn't have time to take care of me. You can find something to do. Wei Zheng. That's not what he meant. Wei Teshu, are you waiting for someone here? Shen Rou could tell that Wei Zheng was waiting for someone, but she didn't expect that he was waiting for Chiao Mian. She only thought that he was waiting for an important client. Wei Zheng nodded. He was about to say that the person he was waiting for was Chiao Mian, when Shen Rou gently raised her lower lip and said considerately, then I will go up first so as not to delay your work. By the way, Assistant Wei, it's my birthday next Saturday, come to my birthday party. Shenro is actually a very high-spirited person. Because of her good background, she was born into a rich family and was naturally supported by others since she was a child. Like Moyesi, she has a cold and arrogant temperament. Although she seems to be easy to get along with, in fact, there are not many people who can take her seriously. Wei Zheng is Moyesi's valued assistant. Shenro loves the house very much, so she treats Wei Zheng differently from ordinary people. It will also give Wei Zheng some face. For example, she would formally invite Wei Zheng to her birthday party. This is not a treatment that ordinary people can have. Wei Zheng had just said something, but when he heard that her birthday was next week, he immediately forgot about it. He looked at the woman standing in front of him with a bright smile, a little dazed. He quickly lowered his head and nodded, "Okay, Miss Shen. I will definitely go. Then you must remember to come." Shenro reached out and patted his shoulder gently, then turned around and walked away with swaying steps. A scent lingered in Wei Zheng's nose. Haven't dispersed for a long time. He couldn't tell what the fragrance was, but it felt a bit alluring. He slowly raised his head and looked at the woman who had walked to the elevator entrance and was standing there waiting for the elevator. He secretly felt a little sweat for Qiao Mian. "Miss Shen, you are really beautiful. And of noble birth. Moreover, he is a top student who returned from studying in a first-class foreign university. If she really likes Mr. Mo, then the young lady has a very powerful enemy. Although the young madam is also very beautiful and is not inferior to her in terms of appearance, in other aspects, the young madam is not as good as Miss Shen. The family background of the Shen family is completely incomparable to that of the down and out Jiao family. Even before the Jiao family fell into disgrace, they didn't even have the qualifications to compete with the Shen family. Furthermore, Miss Shen and Mr. Mo have had a close friendship since they grew up together. This alone is quite threatening. I heard that the reason why Mr. Mo and Miss Shen have maintained a purely friendship relationship is because Miss Shen has never formally pursued him. Is it possible that the young lady will have nothing to do today? Whiteziu. Wei Zheng was thinking about some messy things when he suddenly heard a soft and sweet voice in his ears. He came back to his senses, turned his head and saw Qiao Mian standing behind him. He was startled for a moment, and subconsciously looked towards the elevator entrance. Then he saw that Shenro had entered the elevator and closed the elevator door. "Young master, young madam, you are here." Wei Zheng was a little confused. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 544. Chapter 544. I was just asking casually. This is how to do? Miss Shen has already gone upstairs. Well. Assistant Wei Te, I'm sorry for keeping you waiting down there for so long. It's okay, madam, I've just been down for a while. Wei Zheng's eyes flickered, wondering whether he should tell Qiao Mian now about Shenro going upstairs to find Mr. Mo. Just as he was hesitating, a white and tender little hand suddenly stretched out in front of him, with a bag hooked on his green fingers. "Assistant Wei Te, this is for you. I don't know what flavor you like, so I bought mine. I usually like to eat." "Young madam, this is..." Wei Zheng looked at the cake bag in front of him and was stunned for a moment. Qiao Mian pursed her lips and smiled. When she smiled, her eyes were crooked, like two small crescent moons. "Cake. I was still in line when I went there, so I waited for a while. Although this store is not very famous, but their cakes are really delicious. By the way, Assistant Wei, do you like cake? If you don't like it..." "I like it." Wei Zheng immediately reached out and took it. When he looked into the crescent moon-like dark eyes of the girl in front of him, his face suddenly felt a little hot, and his heartbeat suddenly accelerated a lot. He squeezed the small paper bag in his hand and stammered, thank you, madam." "Hi, the young lady looks so pretty when she smiles. Not too sweet at all. As soon as she smiled like that, he felt like he was in love. Although, he has not been in love yet. But, he suddenly wanted to find a girlfriend like the young lady. The petite one looks like a doll and has a very sweet smile. The voice is also very sweet. When people look at her, they want to love her, pamper her, and give her all the best things in the world that they can. He decided that he would take back those immature ideas. What family background, what high-end academic qualifications, what companionship of childhood sweethearts. It's nothing. He can now somewhat understand why the ancient emperors could even do ridiculous things like playing with the princes with beacon smoke just for the beauty. Some beauties can indeed afford any favor. It is true that she will make people fascinated, and she will not hesitate to do anything ridiculous in the eyes of others. Miss Shen is beautiful, but her beauty is different from that of the young lady. As a man, he still prefers the young lady type. Ms. Shen's beauty is like a precious and beautiful painting. Most people have the mentality of appreciating famous paintings. As for a young lady like this, it will easily arouse the love and affection in a man's heart, and he will have the idea of taking her as his own. No wonder, their boss, Mr. Mo, has been single for more than 20 years. As soon as he met the young lady, he decided to have a flash marriage. "Young madam, do you have any younger sisters?" "Well, the kind of older sisters who have similar personalities and looks to you." Wei Zheng's mind twitched, and he asked what he would do if his family mo. He always knows that he will definitely be sent to the border of a certain country to dig coal and seek death. After asking, his mind suddenly became clear. His face suddenly changed, and before Chiao Mian could answer, he immediately said, "Young madam, I just asked casually, don't take it seriously." Chiao Mian blinked. "Assistant Wei Te, what are you?" End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 545. Chapter 545, Who do you think Mr. Mo will help? Madam, I'm really just asking, you don't have to worry about me. Wei Zheng had already committed suicide once, and of course it was impossible for him to commit suicide a second time. Naturally, he would not tell his true purpose. When he saw Chiao Mian still looking at him with curiosity, he hurriedly changed the topic. "We'd better first go up. Mr. Mo is in a meeting right now and may not come out in an hour." Chiao Mian was easily diverted. She quickly put Wei Zheng's question aside and nodded, "Okay." Wei Zheng led Chiao Mian to the elevator. The company has 7 or 8 elevators. As the president of the company, Mo Yesi has a dedicated elevator that is only used by him and some of the company's senior executives. Wei Zheng directly led Chiao Mian to the CEO's dedicated elevator and waited. In the waiting room, several female employees at the front desk were looking at them curiously. While looking, they lowered their voices and discussed in a low voice, "Who is that woman? Did Assistant Wei take her to see the president?" "That's right, otherwise Assistant Wei Te wouldn't have come down to pick her up in person." "I thought Assistant Wei was here to pick up Miss Shen, but it turned out not to be the case. What is that woman's background? Even Miss Shen doesn't receive such treatment. Is she more respectable than Miss Shen? I heard from the people in the secretary's office that she seems to be Mr. Mo's girlfriend." "What, Mr. Mo's girlfriend? No, that girl looks very young, as if she's not yet an adult. Mr. Mo can't possibly like this young-toothed type, right? She looks quite small, but she's not young at all. I just took a closer look, and her are at least see maybe her face looks tender, and her actual age should be long ago. Besides, I think she is so beautiful. She has a small face, very delicate facial features, and very good skin. Don't you think she is so fair that she is glowing? Objectively speaking, I think she is even more beautiful than Miss Shen. The point is that Miss Shen looks more mature and charming, a little more feminine. This group of front desks is no longer the same group of front desks that Jiao Mian saw the first time she came to Mo's. Of course she wouldn't know. The front desk staff she met for the first time are no longer at Mo's. How could Mo Yesi tolerate a few small receptionists looking down on his wife? So after Wei Zheng told Mo Yesi some of the things he said and did at the front desk, the female employees quickly received their lunch boxes. Then men should prefer Miss Shen's type. I don't think so. Aren't they saying that Miss Shen and our president have known each other since they were children? If the president liked her, they would have been together long ago. The two of them have only been friends for so many years, which shows that the president has a different kind of relationship with her. Not interested. But I heard, Miss Shen likes our Mr. Mo. I don't know if it's true. If it's true, there will be a show soon. Mr. Mo's girlfriend seems to have a soft personality, so I guess not Miss Shen's opponent. I feel so too. If there is a conflict, one is a childhood sweetheart and the other is a girlfriend who has just made friends. Who do you think Mr. Mo will help? Amidst the curiosity and various discussions among a group of employees, Jiao Mian followed Wei Zheng into the president's elevator. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 546. Chapter 546 Entertaining Miss Shen for him. When a female employee at the front desk saw her walking into the elevator, she pursed her lips and said with a smile, I bet Mo will always help his girlfriend. Didn't you see that Miss Shen just went up and took the ordinary employee elevator? Mr. Mo not only did he ask assistant Wei to come down to pick him up, but he also took his private elevator up here. Asterisk. Arrived at the 37th floor. The elevator door opened, Wei Zheng watched Jiao Mian walk out, and followed behind but hesitated to speak. Assistant Wei Te, do you have something to say to me? Jiao Mian noticed the expression on his face, stopped, and looked at him curiously with her dark and bright eyes. That, young lady. Wei Zheng glanced in the direction of Mo Yesi's office. After hesitating for a few seconds, he finally spoke, Miss Shen came just now. She is now, in Mr. Mo's office. If he doesn't say anything, Jiao Mian will see it when she enters the office later. It's better to say it now so that she can be mentally prepared. It's not like he was shocked when he suddenly saw Shenro sitting in Mr. Mo's office. You said Shenro is here. Jiao Mian suddenly remembered that when she got out of the taxi, she saw a familiar figure. I didn't remember who it was at the time, but now I finally remember. Isn't that Shenro? Yes. Wei Zheng carefully looked at her face, and saw that she didn't seem to mind. He couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and his tone became much more relaxed. Miss Shen said that she had an issue with Mr. Mo because of some things. There was a misunderstanding, so she wanted to have a good talk with Mr. Mo. I told her that Mr. Mo was very busy today and might not have time, but she insisted on coming up and waiting for Mr. Mo. Wei Zheng said in embarrassment, she is Mr. Mo's friend. She used to come to the company often to see Mr. Mo, but Mr. Mo never said anything. So, it's not easy for him to stop people. If there are some women who are not trivial and have unreasonable thoughts about Mo's own, he will definitely stop them. But Shenro is different. Unless Mr. Mo personally gives an order not to allow Shenro to come up, he has no right to stop her. I understand. Jiao Mian turned around and looked at the closed door of the CEO's office. A faint smile appeared on her lips and her voice was light. Miss Shen and Yesi have been friends for many years. Friend, of course she can come to Yesi. Then young lady, you. The smile on Jiao Mian's lips deepened a little, and her tone became calmer, since Yesi is not here, as the hostess, of course I have to entertain Miss Shen for him. Even if she knew about Shenro's thoughts about Mo Yesi before, she didn't really care. She felt that it was normal for Shenro to like Mo Yesi. After all, Mo Yesi is really a very good man. Anyone who has such an outstanding man next to him will easily fall in love with him. Having a crush on someone is nothing. As long as you can grasp the size well and not cause trouble to the other party and the other half, it will be fine. But it's different now. She already knew that Shenro could not simply have a quiet crush on Mo Yesi. Shenro was very hostile to her. The time I talked to her before, my words were full of reluctance. Under such circumstances, she could no longer turn a blind eye to Shenro. Not to mention, when she first met Shenro, she had no feelings for Mo Yesi. Of course, he doesn't care if other women like him. Completed the update today. Don't worry, Mr. Mo will not let you down. Don't be too happy about being slapped in the face and sprinkled with dog food. Thank you for the casual reward. Thank you Mr. Wushuan, 15125, leisurely and contented, red leaf love, Sister Feng, don't worship heaven and earth, don't worship Jiotang, Jiying, 1470049 for the reward. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 547. Chapter 547. This is my husband's company. Now that she has fallen in love with him and plans to live with him for a long time, she must do something to defend her family. She can't always let other women stare at her husband. Asterisk. The moment Jiao Mian opened the office door and walked in, several female secretaries outside couldn't help but discuss in a low voice. Tell me, does Miss Shen know that Mr. Mo has a girlfriend? How will she feel when she sees Miss Jiao soon? I'm more curious about whether Miss Jiao knows that Miss Shen likes Mr. Mo. I feel like there will be something good to watch soon. In the president's office. As soon as Jiao Mian walked in, she saw Shenro standing by the desk, looking down at something. She looked a little lost in thought. So much so that I didn't even notice that there was an extra person in the office. Jiao Mian walked a few steps inside and called out in a faint voice, Miss Shen. Hear her voice. Shenro's figure froze for a moment and turned around slowly. Seeing Jiao Mian standing behind her, she frowned and her face darkened. Miss Jiao, why are you here? Oh, Jiao Mian walked up to her, stopped, and curled up the corners of her lips. Miss Shen, I should be asking you this. This is my husband's company, and I stay at my husband's company. Isn't it normal in the company? It's Miss Shen. After knowing that she and Shenro could no longer be ordinary friends, Jiao Mian no longer needed to maintain the surface politeness, and spoke without mercy. I don't know why you came to see my husband. He is very busy right now, so he probably doesn't have time to see you. Why don't you tell me what you want to say, and I will convey your words to him after he finishes the meeting. When she heard Jiao Mian calling husband repeatedly, Shenro's face was already very ugly. When Jiao Mian finished speaking, her face turned completely gloomy. Miss Jiao, what I want to say to ACI, I will tell him face to face. It's not up to you to decide whether he has time to see me. Do you really think you're married? If you give it to him, will you really be the young lady of the Mo family? Do you think you can hold on to your current position? Miss Jiao, don't get too complacent in everything. You know very well why ACI married you. If it weren't for your special feelings for him, do you think that with your background, you can marry into the Mo family? Prominent family. ACI's grandma and his mother, which one is not a noble lady from a famous family? Let me tell you, don't think that Grandma Mo is gentle and approachable to you just because you think she really likes you. People who come from a noble family, there is no one who does not value family background. Grandma Mo values it, Mrs. Mo values it, and brother ACI also values it. If you were not the only woman who could get close to him, you would never have the chance to have anything to do with the Mo family in this life. Relation. When ACI recovers from his illness, your specialness will be gone by then. How long do you think you can stay with brother ACI? Chiao Mian listened silently, with a calm expression on her face. She even wanted to laugh a little. So if Shenro wants to hit her, she can only use this incident to hit her? She thought she would be deeply shocked after hearing these words. But in fact, there was really no fluctuation in her heart. She already knew why Mo Yesi married her. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 548. Chapter 548. Are you sure my husband really has misophobia? He had nothing to hide in front of her. He had already confessed these words to Shenro. At that time, Chiao Mian thought it was nothing. She felt a lot more at peace in her heart. After all, when Mo Yesi proposed to marry her, she knew what he must be doing. Otherwise, given his conditions, it would be impossible for him to just find a woman to marry. It is even more impossible to have a flash marriage with her. It is normal for him to marry her because of something special about her. So, if Shenro used something that she had known and accepted for a long time to attack her, would it be useful? So what? Chiao Mian looked at Shenro's unwillingness and hidden jealous expression. She slowly raised the corners of her lips and said in an indifferent tone, even if it is true as Miss Shen said, from now on, he and I will be separated, at least I have had him. I have also enjoyed his care and favor, and had a wonderful relationship with him. Looking back on it in the future, it is also a wonderful memory. I have nothing to regret, and I have nothing to regret. No matter what, I am much luckier than Miss Shen. You have been with him for such a long time, and you were the only member of the opposite who could be friends with him. Speaking of which, Miss Shen also had such a strong personality. A little bit special. But the person he chose in the end was not you. Oh, I was wrong. He never chose you. To him, you are just a friend who has known him for a longer time. He told me that he just chose you. You treat her like a sister. So even if I don't marry him, it's not your turn, Miss Shen. I really don't know what Miss Shen is not willing to accept. After Chiao Mian finished speaking, she glanced at Shenro, whose expression was extremely ugly, and walked around her. She walked straight to Mo Yesi's desk, stretched out her hand to pull out the black leather chair, and slowly sat down under Shenro's angry and surprised eyes. The black leather chair is soft and comfortable to sit on. Chiao Mian thought that it was indeed Mo Yesi's special leather chair. The comfort level is indeed quite high. Seeing that she actually sat on Mo Yesi's chair, Shenro seemed to have seen something incredible. She opened her eyes wide and said in shock and anger, Miss Chiao, ACI doesn't like it when others don't get him his stuff is used with permission. How can you? Oh, Chiao Mian pursed her lips and smiled. Before she could finish speaking, she picked up the cup on the desk and took a sip of water. Shenro's eyes opened even wider when she saw that she was drinking from Mo Yesi's cup again. There was more surprise and anger in his eyes. Miss Chiao, how can you touch other people's things? Shenro was so angry that she looked as if her things had been touched. Her face was very ugly. ACI has misophobia. You took it without his knowledge. Drinking water from his cup will make him angry. You are too disrespectful of a tutor. Misophobia. Chiao Mian seemed to have heard some funny joke. Looking at Shenro's furious look, she took another sip of her saliva without hesitation, and then said in surprise, Miss Shen, are you sure does my husband really have misophobia? That husband sounds particularly harsh. Shenro said with an ugly face, of course, I have known ACI for more than 20 years, and I know him very well. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 549. Chapter 549. You know whether ACI loves you or not. Then the mo yesi I know may be different from the one Miss Shen knows. Chiao Mian deliberately pretended to be surprised and confused, tilted her head, and said with a slight frown, I think he has mysophobia. People with mysophobia don't like kissing, but he always likes to kiss me. Every time I put lipstick on my mouth, it would be eaten by him within a short time. Shenro. Is it because he has two different standards for his own family and for outsiders? Chiao Mian specifically emphasized the word outsider, but she still looked innocent when she said it, as if she was really confused. Shenro's face changed again and again, and she clenched her fists in shame. Chiao Mian, do you think I will believe you? Si doesn't like you at all. He married you because of his illness. There's no point lying in front of me, I won't believe you. Haha. Chiao Mian smiled, Miss Shen, why should I lie? Do you have the final say whether my husband likes me or not? Do you think that as a wife, I am not as clear about what he means to me as an outsider like you? My feelings. If deceiving yourself like this can make you feel better, then whatever you want to do is up to you. Anyway, I know that I always love me, that's all. Chiao Mian did it on purpose. She knew what Shenro cared about, so she deliberately said such words to annoy her. Sure enough, as soon as she finished these few words, Shenro's face turned pale. Miss Chiao, I should give you the sentence of self-deception. Shenro's chest rose and fell rapidly a few times, as if she was extremely angry, but she finally endured it, clenched her fingers and raised her lips and sneered, you know in your heart whether Sia loves you or not. It's useless for you to show off to me, because everyone can see the truth. Chiao Mian also sneered, the fact is that Mo Yesi was fascinated by my beauty, fell in love with me at first sight, and then fell in love with me so much that he couldn't help himself. Miss Shen, it's useless for you to show off. What is the truth? Most clearly. You. A mocking smile appeared on Shenro's lips. Just as she was about to speak back, she suddenly caught a glimpse of a slender figure standing outside the door. There was a squeak sound, and someone pushed open the office door. Chiao Mian was dumbfounded when she saw Mo Yesi walking in from the outside wearing a suit and leather shoes. Isn't he in a meeting? Didn't Wei Zhang say that he would end the meeting in an hour? Then when did he come? Did he hear what she just said? As soon as she thought of this possibility, Chiao Mian wanted to dig a hole in the ground and hide herself immediately. This is too shameful. She took advantage of his absence to deliberately speak so calmly. She was just as fascinated by her beauty as he was, and it was love at first sight. Just when Chiao Mian felt extremely embarrassed and worried that she would be slapped in the face by Mo Yesi, the man walked up to her, stopped and looked at the petite girl sitting on the black leather chair with a flash in his eyes. A hint of darkness. His seat is very wide. She was sitting on it, looking very small and petite. And from the angle where he stood, when he lowered his head, he could see the half-covered softness of the girl, as well as the faint red kiss marks hidden under her long hair. The man's eyes darkened, and his eyes couldn't help but become darker. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 550. Chapter 550. Fatal Flirting. He imagined in his mind what it would be like to press her down on this black leather chair. What would it feel like? Just thinking about it like this, my body has a conative reaction. Mo Yesi, what are you? Chiao Mian still didn't know what the man next to her was thinking. Her eyes were wide open, and there was a trace of unnoticeable panic in her eyes, and there was also a hint of being caught after doing something bad. The embarrassment of being caught on the spot. Wei Zhang said you have arrived at the company. Mo Yesi put away the beastly thoughts in his heart, lowered his eyes, and looked at the girl who was looking at him in a panic, so I came over to take a look. Yes, is that so? Chiao Mian blinked, and her face felt extremely uncomfortable when she thought of the she had just boasted about. He must have heard it. Heard how she made up lies and bragging to his childhood sweetheart how much he loved her. However, it seemed that he had no intention of exposing her. Are you planning to save some face for her? Yes, he didn't seem to see anyone standing in the office. From the moment he walked into the office to now, his eyes had been focused on Chiao Mian, and he only talked to her. Wei Zhang said you bought him a cake. He just tasted it. The cake is delicious. Here's my share. I want to try it too. He put his hands on his thin lips with a faint smile. Reach out to her and ask for cake. Although Chiao Mian didn't know whether he really didn't see Shenro or whether he saw Shenro and ignored her intentionally, anyway, his way of treating Shenro as a transparent person made her feel extremely comfortable inside. She glanced at Shenro, who was standing not far behind Moyesi, with her peripheral vision. Shenro's face was already extremely ugly. You must be involved. Chiao Mian looked away happily and decided to add fuel to the fire to make Shenro's anger and jealousy burn even more fiercely. She lifted up a cake bag on the table, curled her lips, and said in a sweet voice, I don't know what flavor you like, so I bought the flavor I usually like. It's strawberry flavor. Yes, if you don't like it. I like. Before she could finish speaking, Moyesi took the cake bag and took out a strawberry mousse cake from it. He looked down at Chiao Mian with gentle eyes, and handed her the spoon in the cake. Feed me. Chiao Mian. When Moyesi called her to feed him in a low voice and a coquettish tone, her heart felt as if she had been shocked by an electric shock, and her heartbeat suddenly became so fast. She stared blankly at the man in front of her, with a handsome and stern face, and an aura of abstinence all over her body, and felt her heart beating crazily. Moyesi, who can act coquettishly with her, is too alluring. Deadly seductive. It's simply irresistible. Baby, seeing that she had no reaction, Moyesi curved his thin lips and put the spoon into her hand again. His voice became deeper and more seductive and said, feed me. Facing his dark eyes as deep as the sea, Chiao Mian felt like there was an abyss in his eyes, which almost sucked her soul away. Her mind suddenly went blank, as if she was tempted by his voice. She couldn't help but scoop a spoonful of cake and put it to his mouth. Moyesi let out a low laugh in his throat, opened his mouth, bit the small pink spoon gently, and then finished the cake in small bites while Chiao Mian kept blushing and her heartbeat racing. End of this chapter.